because, as you all know, Brian's a comedian and I'm a medium. And my mom always says, you guys need to be like Johnny and Marie. A little bit country and a little bit rock and roll and put a show on together. So tonight we're going to practice this for the first time. Brian's going to do comedy, and I'm going to do mediumship, and this is our comedian show. So we needed a live, friendly audience, and you guys are it. Mom didn't know this, but growing up, she always thought Brian was in trouble at school. What she didn't realize was that he was practicing for his career as a comedian. So I went to bring to stage my brother, Covington High School's class clown of 1998, Brian Swinehart.
I love you, even though I give you a hard time. My mom's great, you guys, and one thing about my mom is she likes to keep stuff, you know, and she keeps everything, and it drives me crazy. I can't stand it, man. I want to get rid of stuff, you know, and so. I started throwing out some stuff when Mom wasn't there, and I haven't heard the last of it, you know, and I was getting rid of stuff, and she got mad at me. She's like, did you throw away that drawing you drew in the 3rd grade? I was like, yeah, Mom, I did. She's like, I was saving that. Why, Mom? I can draw the same thing now. It will look exactly the same. I haven't improved. Because my dad was old. My dad was 58 when I was born, 60 when my sister was born. But my dad and I, we still played sports. I was all-state in shuffleboard, lettered in horseshoes, scholarship in bocce ball. I'd wake up at night, Dad, I peed the bed. Soda, I go back to sleep. My mom did not like me getting into fights, did you? He didn't like me getting into fights. My dad enjoyed it. He wanted the other kids to punish me the way he should have been punishing me, right? And I got in a fight once, and all of our fights here in town took place behind the church over there in the alley. That way, if you got killed, you were already there. And I had a fight once that was a 2-day fight. We took a break, but it lasted 2 days. We started fighting the first day. Someone yelled, "Cops!" and everybody ran away. Okay, and then the kid and his brothers told him, "Hey, you guys are fighting again," right? He had an older brother that was telling him, "We're fighting again." So I show up to the fight the second day, and we're fighting, and halfway through the fight, who shows up? Howard Swinehart to watch the fight. There's my dad to watch the fight. And he's cheering me on, but he's giving Sean some pointers too. You know, he's taking bets, he's collecting money, you know. He's all involved with the kids. Then the cops come again, all the kids run, except I can't run because I'm with my dad, and he can't run because, well, he had a cane. And the cop comes up to him and says, "Mr. Swinehart, what are you doing here?" I said, "You guys missed one hell of a fight." I was in Starbucks in Florida, actually, and the person working behind the counter had a name tag that said "they, them." And this kind of threw me off because I was like, well, if you are they, them, can't you be making my drink a little quicker? There should be at least 1 or 2 of you making my drink, right? And I went to the grocery and I saw this girl wearing a mask, and I said, "Hey, bet you look real good without that mask on." She took it off. I was wrong. Put it back up and shave. Every dog we've ever had, though, my mom pretty much takes over. You know, she becomes the main dog. You know, especially now with our dog Bestie. And Bestie is at least 13 years old. And a couple years ago, he was going blind. Right? He had cataracts. By chance, this guy I used to wrestle with in high school is now a dog optometrist. His name's Ronnie, okay? So I took Bestie to see Ronnie. Ronnie looks at Bestie. He says he's got cataracts. We can try to fix his eyes with surgery, but it will cost $6,000. I said, well, how much for one eye? Well, of course, we love little Bestie, so I take Bestie into the surgery, but I'm a mess. I'm so paranoid, I'm so worried, and all day I'm crying and I'm praying, God, please send me $6,000. Ronnie calls me 2 hours later. He says, Bestie's going to be okay. goes to show dog really is man's best friend. Because I would never spend $6,000 to get my girlfriend's eyes fixed. I tell her I look better blind. She don't need to be looking at other guys. But the thing I really appreciate the most about my mom is she's always been supportive. Everything we've done, she's given us, never told us you can't do it. She believes in you. And that happened in wrestling. I was a terrible wrestler. I was on the wrestling team. My senior year, I wanted to go to the state wrestling tournament, right? That was my big thing. And we had a coach here in town named Coach DeHart. And Coach DeHart came to my room and he said, your problem isn't your moves, your problem is your mind. Your mind is cluttered just like your messy room. I said, that's not my fault. My mom won't let me throw anything out. But mom let me kind of organize my room for a while. I got to throw out a couple things, and I got my room clean, right? I got pretty clean. And I was one win away from going to the state tournament, which was my goal in high school. I wanted to go to the state tournament, and around here, that's the big thing. I had to wrestle this guy from Versailles. He had pinned me every time we had wrestled. 5 times he had pinned me. Before the match, he got in my face, and he said, this time I'm going to pin you so fast you'll never get up. I said to him, dude, you can talk trash, but did you take out the trash? Are your dishes done? I bet you got dust bunnies under your bed. I got in his head. I shot him, took him down, pinned him. He folded like my laundry. Thank you, guys.
All right, so a medium means that I can actually communicate with spirits who are no longer alive. So I used to practice law and represent living people. Now I represent the dead, and let me tell you, they are way more fun to work with than practicing law. So very happy about that. So the way that this works a little bit is like it's Pictionary, charades, and telephone. There's a lot happening all at the same time. I see images. So if I were to tell you to picture a baseball field, the way that that image pops into your mind is what I see. I will always tell you exactly what I'm seeing because it could have more significance to you than it does to me. I hear, just the same way that if you were to sing your favorite song in your head, the way you hear your own voice, that's what I hear. So I hear my own voice, but it's also like a message that I'm getting. I'll tell you again everything that I hear, so you know it's not me telling you, it could be your loved one telling you what they think. And it's always good. I also feel, so for example, if somebody passed by a heart attack, I can get chest pains, and then that will help me understand that that's what happened. Sometimes stomach pain, so maybe they had stomach cancer, so I will give you all of these details. And I'm saying this, that what's going to happen is I'm going to do readings here, right? But if you do not want a reading, and I totally respect that, if the information's making sense, just raise your hand and say, I understand that, but I don't want the reading, because I don't want anybody to have a reading if they're not interested. So we'll see, because this isn't a very big group. Let's see, I get names. They could be for people who are still alive or on the other side. So if I'm talking about a Rob and you know a Robert in the living, it could be for them. So just keep that in mind as well. That could be over there. Sometimes your Z list, like Uncle Joe, who you did not like, might show up first. If that's the case, we're going to acknowledge him, get the information, and move on, because your A list, your mom or whomever else you may want to connect with, might be right there. And I should also say, I do get pets. As we've learned, a lot of times people don't want to talk to their family. They'd rather communicate with their pets. So keep that in mind as well. So I want to stop. Does anybody have any questions about this? I know this is totally foreign and could be odd. I didn't know I could do this until about 4 years ago. I always just didn't know why I knew things that I didn't know I knew. I didn't know other people didn't know those things. So then I discovered, well, there's a reason why I know things other people don't know. So now this is what I do groups as well. So does anyone have any questions? And again, if you understand what I'm talking about, but you don't want a message, just raise your hand, because I have no control over what spirits show up. And I just want to make sure that I give. This is interesting. So, and what's a little tricky about this with people that I know and some of the background is that there's some things where I have to really decipher. I mean, like, know that it's not coming from me, but from there. But what I am seeing is a John Deere tractor. Imagine that. And this actually feels like it's outside at Grandma's house. I feel like I'm outside at Grandma's house by the silos, right? The big silos. And I know who this is. It's actually Ronnie. Are you guys open to a message from Ronnie? Are you sure? Okay. yeah, I can see him in the tractor and talking about how much he loved his life as a farmer. There's something significant though around like the grain bins or the silo bins, and I feel like I'm at grandma's house. Would you understand anything specific about those grain bins? What would that be?
There's a John Deere tractor sitting there hooked up to a grain auger right now.
Right now? Oh my God, okay.
Yeah.
Right now, okay. So what he wants you to know is that he's present every day in the farming. I actually feel like when you're farming, you can feel kind of his presence, or like you have an opportunity to connect to him kind of on a deeper level. Would you understand that?
Yeah.
So he's really proud of the work that you've done and the way that you've continued to grow the farmland and how you've continued to bring a legacy for him, because that seems like it was part of what he wanted to do, was to keep that farmland in the family and give you guys an opportunity to create wealth and income from something that he, do you understand that? Maybe? Dude, I don't know how I know, I just know things.
Just a combine, and I just ordered a brand new tractor.
Okay, well, he says, way to go, that's awesome.
I'll pay for it.
Let's ask him. Pray to God like Brian did, and maybe he'll get $6,000. I don't know if that'll help. I'll give him a shot. By chance, is it red? Is there
Oh,
anything?
no.
Was there an old piece of red? Was there a red piece of machinery at some point?
Yeah.
I'm hearing him say it was his favorite. Like, I don't know if there was something different or unique about it.
His old original tractor started farming.
Oh, you found it?
Yep.
Okay.
It was a sale over in Springfield, but it was an orange.
Oh, orange. Okay, that could, yeah.
The red one was at my house, and her dad bought it brand new.
Oh, but it's at your house, the red one. Oh, it's at her house.
It's at her house.
Okay, the red one. Okay. Interesting. When you see that red, what's it, combine? Tractor?
Oh, that's tractor.
Tractor. When you see that red tractor, do you think of Ronnie? Like, he really liked that piece?
He had that red truck.
And your father? Okay. Because it's in your barn. So this is your father who's showing up right now. Okay. And for those of you who don't know, my mom and Patty are cousins. So your dads were brothers. And your moms were sisters. I don't understand all that. There's something about like leaving a legacy with the old farm equipment. Like, I don't know if it becomes more valuable later on, or if there's some point in having it around for a while.
They're side by side.
Okay, yeah, it feels like it's just supposed to stay with the land. Like, it's just a really, like, there's a lot of historical value in that, and it's also a way to look and see how far you guys have come from. And they're also just grateful that you've continued the farming because it helps serve so many people, right? People underestimate what actually happens with farming and how much work and effort it takes, and then how much it actually helps the rest of the world, truly. And they're literally saying, we have so much gratitude for you and for the family to continue this on, and just encouraging you to keep going and keep spreading the wealth of food. So, all right, so thank you guys for that. And I hear it like a word like miser or Meisner. I don't know if this is a last name. Actually, I know of like a Meisner Park in Boca Raton. Let me see. See what I mean? It's like putting pieces together here. Does anybody have an association with Boca Raton, Florida for any reason? Brian does.
Well, I do.
Do you know a Paul?
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
Well, I don't know, but remember I worked for his after he died.
Oh, you worked for him after he died?
Well, remember Paul Walker in the Fast and Furious?
Yeah.
I was the stand-in to his brothers when they did it.
Oh, in the Fast and the Furious, where it was your hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before, yeah.
So Brian was a stand-in for Paul Walker's brother in the Fast and Furious as a hand model.
Before my fingers got hurt.
Before his fingers, right. But so,
I don't know if that's it, but
let me see. So I actually can get like celebrities and other people who are no longer alive. It's been kind of interesting. So there actually could be a chance that this could be Paul Walker. But they're like, I'm seeing blue and green cars. Were you around any scene that had like the blue and green cars?
mm-hmm. The blue, yeah, for sure.
Blue, so you know what I'm talking about. And was there something there that your hand was involved in the blue car?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He says you were a damn good hand model. Those
Oh,
are his words.
I hope he really said that. I hope so.
And he's laughing about this, and he's like, and I'm sorry about what happened, but know that you were a damn good hand model, and there's a lot more opportunity out there for you with the way that your hand is now, because you've got a better story than the story you had with all 10 fingers, because almost everybody has that. You've got something unique. As is your talent is unique, so he's encouraging you to tap into even more of your creative abilities, especially with writing, because that's your passion and you're really, really good at it. And he said he's saying you can write and make movies. So yeah, you got Paul Walker cheering for you, so I would take that and run with it. I don't know, he keeps talking about that blue car. Was it something like a Ferrari?
I don't know what kind it was, but they had us for several days. I would sit in this blue car, and they had a blue backdrop, and they had the car propped up to make it look like it's driving. And I would just sit there, several days just in that car.
Okay, so was he around then? Did he see you ever there? But you were with his brother.
His brothers. He was already,
Oh, he was already gone. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's a blue one that was in the end of the.
Gosh, I know a lot of cars and I don't know a Skyline. Does it look anything like a Ferrari?
It's like a Honda.
Okay. Well, there we go. Message from Paul Walker. The name Robert and Bob. And I feel like this is for you, Dolores. Are you interested or no? It's okay if you don't want the message. You do? Or you don't? You do? Okay. So I actually see Bob standing at our pond, and he was saying fishing was his happiest moments. Do you understand that, like, fishing was where, like, I know that, but, like, I feel like he's telling me, like, those were his happiest moments. Do you understand that? Yeah, at our pond. So, like, he enjoyed that. And I see the truck. I see his truck parked outside. And, he's saying he really liked the time that he was fishing and that Brian would be there. Like, he would get to connect with Brian. It feels like Brian learned all his fishing skills from Bob. Brian, is that true?
Yeah, he took me out there on my birthday one year.
Oh, okay. So he liked that moment of connecting, and he loves the fact, Brian, that you're driving his truck around, because he feels like he's getting extra use. He's getting more money out of the use out of that truck. So it's going a lot further, which I feel like that makes sense for him. He wants to give a big thank you for taking care of him through the end. He knew that that was really challenging and that it was very stressful, but he's so glad that you made it possible so he got to stay home, because that was really his wish, that he got to stay home, and he's got a lot of gratitude for that. So thank you so much for helping take care of him at home. And he says he had no unfinished business here. So he feels like everything that happened here, he was very complete, and is really grateful for the life that he got to live, for having 4 kids, for being married to you for, was it 40? 66 and a half years, all right. I should go in the Guinness Book of World Records or something. He's also saying he has Stacy the dog. He's got Stacy. So thanks for taking care of Stacy and making sure that all of that was handled. He's now with her and says that she's in good hands. So he wants you to know that he has her, and that he's really glad that you guys took on the other dogs, because he still kind of works through them as well, right? So those are really good companions. Send so much love and thanks you for being open to get this. He's kind of funny. He's like, if anybody could have gotten this message to her, it'd be through Kristen Swinehart. So yeah, he's funny. I can see him smiling. So lots of love from Bob. I still have another Paul name. Does anybody know a Paul?
There was Paul Princey that worked with Dad. No?
Well, I
He's
know.
still alive.
Okay, yeah, he's Dad's like that son of a bitch. That's what I just heard. Oh my God, it's funny. It's Dad. He's like, did you think I wasn't gonna come through as somebody funny? Like, so that's Dad. That's so funny. He did this the last time we did a group thing. He used Paul to come through. Oh my God, he's hilarious. He's like, did you think I was not gonna show up today? And I have to be the last person because, of course. So let's see, what's Dad have to say? Brian, he's glad you got your room cleaned up. What is this? This is gonna be really weird to deliver a message from my dad through myself, but we'll give that a shot. So he just says that, I swear to God this is happening, right? But he's very proud of what Brian and I have been able to do and the way that we're coming together to hopefully take this show on the road, and that we're here to do it for Mom, and happy birthday to Mom for continuing to help us even once he was gone from 18 on, which I can't imagine was a very easy task. So he's really grateful that you continue to support us and continue to, that we've been able to become who we are because you've continued to push us down the road of letting us do the things that we want to do, even though they're not conventional. And that this is where our own gifts and abilities lie within this, and so had you not been supportive, we might never have known what we were actually capable of doing and what's possible. So Dad sends a big thank you to everybody that's come out and to support along the way, and love you, happy birthday, Mom, and thank you guys.
Day to you. Okay.
We only have one candle because we have a fire.
We'll be back.
Yay.
Thank you.